Okay, welcome back to Animation Teacher. So, I'm going to go over some animation basics using a rig that I created. This is called the Franco rig. So, I'm just going to go over a couple of things here. I did a basic rotation, two-point view here, but we're only going to use the one, so I'll hide this one, and let's just use this for today. So the assignment here is we have to create an action for Franco here. So I'm just going to create a simple hand wave action so people can see what's going on at home. For my students who need the example, I'm just going to do a quick one here. So as always, I'd like to start off with a sketch. Now this doesn't have to be anything spectacular, but the one thing I do like to stress is you want to try to keep the proportions at least consistent here. So just gonna quickly try them out. It's important to also do sketches so you can see your character action as well as the art pieces you might need. Okay, so once we have our basic outline here, I'm going to go ahead and animate what I need for the final position, which is basically a slight tilt. And he's just going to do a wave. Let's turn off this onion skin. Okay. So it's more or less just going to be a wave. I'm going to copy this head here. Control C, Control V. Now you can copy and paste right in the camera view so long as you're on the correct layer, and you can resume drawing. Okay. So that's going to be my action. I'm going to keep it nice and simple. The only thing is, what I like to do is I like to add just a little bit of a skew rotation on there so it's not entirely stiff. Okay. And I'll do the same for the other leg here. There we go. Obviously, he's going to look a little bit higher. There we go. Alright, so the next thing we'll do after we have our basic sketch, I'm going to lock the sketch layer there, and I'm going to select my build and start going. Now if you want to add a transparency to your sketch so you can see it just a little bit better, what I would recommend is to throw in a transparency peg under favorites. There we go. And you just hold Alt to slide it in between. Now the transparency peg works like this. 0 means there is no transparency. 100 means it's totally gone, so it disappears. So what we want is about 65 or 60. There we go, that's pretty good. I'm going to just give this a peg and bump it up. Okay, just so we can see it a little bit better. And I'll lock the peg as well. Alright, so our first view, we don't have to do anything to it. Our second view, we will. Alright, so this is our Franco peg. I'm going to make sure that we just F6 the first key and the second key quite a bit. Sometimes harmony is a little bit finicky like that. Alright. So I notice already that my torso here isn't connected to the head comp, so if that's the case, all you really have to do is make sure the head comp follows the body comp after, so it just goes in like this. So basically the head, and then if you parent up, you get the body, and then you get everything else. So it's a quick little re-rig here. Alright. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to just tilt his body like so, and move his arms up. We can adjust the art in a second. I just want to get the basic action here. Okay. There we go. And like I say, I like to just tilt it ever so slightly. I'm going to zoom in by hitting 2 here, and I'll adjust his crotch layer, not that it matters too much. And I also have a pelvis layer hidden in the back. And of course, a slight tilt. Alright. Okay, so whenever you have to create new art, it's as easy as this. First, let's find a frame where it's close to what we want. I think that's frame 5 here. And I just want to make sure that I'm going to follow this pivot point here. So even if it's at frame 5, I'm going to duplicate this. The shortcut's not working. So if the shortcut's not working, you can go under drawing and hit duplicate drawing, and that's going to create an instance number 6 now. So from this point, I'm going to use our existing art and manipulate that into what I need it to be. Now, as you can see, something's changing, but nothing's moving here. But you can see under my drawing substitution, I'm actually only affecting the line art layer and not the color art layer. So here are all the layers. I actually moved this layer, the color art layer. So let me just undo all that. Now what you want to do is you want to be sure if you duplicate this instance that you want to move all the layers at the same time. To do that, you just have to go under your, whether it's the selection tool or actually the selection tool works, just make sure you have this selection tool option selected. It's called apply to line and color art. It basically lets you draw all the layers at the same time or manipulate it at the same time. So this is what happens. If I move all the layers, everything moves. All the drawings inside move at the same time. I can even manipulate it with this once it's selected here. So now when I move it, it all goes together. Okay, so that's very important. Alright, so I have the instance that I want. Now I'm going to change my forearm. Actually, this is just a little touch too big. I'm going to change my forearm. So drawing, duplicate drawing, make sure that's selected. Okay, and I'm going to keep this on because I want to edit multiple layers again. Okay, now these layers are actually fill layers, so they're going to behave a little bit differently than my line art layers. Okay, so I have to be careful here. Okay, so not much of a change here. Let me see. What I've done was I've actually saved a line art version of my drawing in case I needed to edit. So the way the Franco rig is done, the underlay layer is actually just a backup copy layer. If you go under the node view here and I hit O to find it, you'll see that I've deactivated the underlay layer because it's just my backup layer for cases like this where I actually just need the line art to be manipulated. Okay, so I'm just gonna delete this and this, and I'll paste from my underlay layer, my backup layer, this piece of art. So once I have it, now I can manipulate, whoops, the hand or the forearm the way I want it. So I'm just nudging this by using my arrow keys here. Alright, so this looks like what we want. So, okay, I'm content with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to save my backup, Control C, delete this under the underlay layer, Control V. So I'm going to go back to my line art layer, convert lines to fill, which is this icon here, and then I'm going to locate my skin tone color there, fill, and copy the fill, or cut the fill, and paste it in the color art layer. This is just so my color patch works. Okay, there it is. And the next item is the hand. I'm just going to double check to see if there's any other layers. Nope, it's just the line art layer, so that's good. Nice and easy. I'm just going to duplicate drawings. Now, even though my drawing has nothing to do with this actual hand here, I actually like to have two drawings next to each other so I can have a point of reference when I'm drawing my hand, how to do it properly. So, once again, I'm just going to use a box here. I'll switch this to 3, and we'll fill it with the skin tone, and we'll just manipulate this into place. So once again, to clean up, you're using a combination of the Control keys to add points, and then the Alt keys to manipulate your curves, like so. Okay, so here is my hand. There it is. And I'm just going to add the palm line, and I think we're good. Let's just round this off, and we're pretty good to go. So, yeah, as a general rule, when you're drawing hands, you actually need that rounded wrist area because you don't know how much you're actually going to have to rotate it later on. Okay. Alright, so that looks pretty good. I'm just going to, whoops. Just going to select this hand here, move it in place. So the other thing is when you're doing hands, you want to make sure you are true to your anchor point here. So that looks pretty good. So that way you can adjust afterwards as you need. There we go. Alright. So there's my hand. And this one, let's see what we have in our library. I guess that'll be fine. Actually, no, I actually like the other one better. Yeah, we'll just go with this. Alright, so, just to keep things simple, once you actually have your drawing here, or sorry, your pose here, let's just turn this preview off of the sketch here. So if you want to hide something, you disable it from view by hitting D and then A to ableize, or disable, basically. Alright, so now we have our two keys. Animation in Harmony is pretty simple once you have your posing. So let's suppose these two are the poses that we want. Okay? All we have to do is grab the first key, the second key, and work out our timing. So usually what I like to do is I like to introduce an antic first. The antic usually is about 4 or 5 frames long. Now I'm going to leave a 12 frame hold first to get started. And then from the 12 I'm going to 18, or let's go 17, into an antic. So actually, let me do this. So this will be my antic. From here to here will be my antic. Oh, looks like his pelvis disappeared. Alright, 1 second. Let's locate his pelvis first. I'm hitting comma and period to scroll here, in case you're wondering. Alright, so let's look at, there it is. Let's locate that. Alright, so it disappeared there. And also alright, that looks fine actually. Why is that a different instance? How odd. Okay. That's the same instance. Alright, so we have our antic position, which is here. Let me just collapse this. So our antic is usually the opposite direction of the overshoot settle. So this will be our overshoot settle. What I want to do is I want to move down. Here you can do even this. I want to go to the opposite direction. Not so much, just a little bit is enough. Okay, and I want to bring my arms up. Actually, let's bring our arms down and then we'll antic it up. Okay. We can add a little bit of a tilt in the head. And so let's suppose that's our antic. Let's widen this a little bit. Okay, so let's suppose that's our antic. And that's our overshoot. And our settle is essentially just our overshoot, but we push it a little bit more. And actually, let's, the hands are changing here, so we have to actually locate that. So there it is there. What I generally like to do is, if I have an issue where the entire torso, let's say, had to change, I'll basically just go select it right to the end and hit F5 just to keep it going there. Alright, so that's my overshoot and settle. So for overshoots and settle, once again, we're just basically pushing the action a little bit further. There we go. So I'm just going to skew that up just a touch. rotate and skew. Everything's just a nudge when you get to the extremities here. Okay, and there it is. So I'm gonna, whoops, I'm just gonna give a nudge here. And a nudge here. Okay, there we go. There's your overshoot and settle. So I'm going to let it settle after about 5 frames here. So once I have my poses here, I'm just going to set the timing so that can shoot there. Whoops. Let me just move these two over. Okay, so this is my timing. I'm going to highlight it all, hit Control K to tween. So I'm going to pull up my editor here for my set ease. So if you don't see it, just hit this arrow here. There it is. Okay, so the way eases work is I like to explain it as if you're riding a roller coaster. So basically we are on frame 12 here, as you can see. I'm going to go to frame 17 because this is where we actually want the ease to take place. From frame 12 to frame 17, I want things to slow down. And on a roller coaster, we actually want it to start off fast if you're on a roller coaster, and then at the bottom to slow down. We're basically going to bend the track. So to bend the track on the left hand side, you put a number on the left hand ratio. So I like to use 80. So as you can see, it starts off fast and then slows down to 17. Okay, so now I want to go up slowly and then speed up fast. So I'm just going to go 25 for our lead up to our next frame here. So when we get to 21, I want to get up here pretty quick and slow down right at the top here. So I'm going to hit 80 and apply. So you'll see that action take place. So as it comes back down, I want to drop it down quick again. And I want to slow down the action again. So I'm going to hit 80. So as you can see, it slows down to the top there. Now, sometimes you'll see the graphs on top, sometimes at the bottom. It doesn't really matter as long as you see the curvature leading into or out of your keyframe that you're on. Okay, so I'm going to apply and close. And let's have a look at this action here. Let's just set it, stop to 35, and then we'll set the loop and have a look. Okay, so that's a basic simple action, and simply using a quick sketch, pose it out, add your antic, and overshoot and settle. And that's basically how you animate a simple rig for a simple action. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Let's save this.